All right, guys, you know what time it is? Will's Outlook. We're in for another market update video. We're gonna kind of look at the market, where it's going, what we think is going on, and all that good stuff, and kind of look and see what we might see perking out here, guys. Might be looking pretty good. Let's keep an eye on the market. All right, so if we look at the market as a whole, guys, we're basically looking at the whole market right now as, I mean, in reality, still in a bullish state. We can come through and we can look at the overall market, and there's a lot of stuff on here that you're seeing, but I mean, like, we're basically just looking at our low here, as we've already discussed many times, and then that low goes into another low here, which well, technically higher low, right? So this is a higher low, so that's our HL, and then we got our high low again, right, guys? That's where we're sitting right now. This is the weekly right here in front of your face. So with this right here, I would consider this a bullish momentum. What else are we seeing, guys? Well, if we look at everything overall, we got our low high here, right? And then we got our high here, right? That's our next high. And then that high then transfers to the next high, guys, right? So that's our next high right there. That's bullish momentum, guys. Like, this is on the weekly standpoint. Obviously we can knock it down to the daily. We should get the same results as you can see right here. It actually looks a little better on the daily overall. So the daily is kind of indicating the same information that I'm giving you guys. In addition to that, we're also looking at what? We're looking at the RSI, you know, being at the bottom of the RSI, guys. Like, this is something we've been talking about for a while. RSI is still looking very oversold for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is right now looking to drive upside. Now, the only thing that I'm concerned about with the upside that Bitcoin is driving is, will Bitcoin top where we did over here in June, guys? That's kind of the questionary scenario that we're looking at. On the weekly, if we do end up topping there, we're already hitting there right now. We're hitting that resistance right at this moment. Looking like we're going to come up and kind of tap it and maybe fall back. So if we do fall back, we're probably looking at a movement like this. We're looking to come up, just as I show right here with this arrow, potentially deflect, come down to our July bottom here, right, on strength, and then rebound from that July bottom. I think, you know, this is always a possibility. We could just break out from here. Again, you know, it's still bullish momentum, I guess, in a sense, because if you look at it, it's still what? It's still an uptrend, guys. An uptrend means what? Uptrend means bullish. It does not mean bearish. This right here, while this is one big M, we could very easily rebound into a W, right? And or just kind of take off from this position. Bitcoin has done this many times, guys. All right, guys, quick intermission. If you could like, subscribe, comment, stay up with the latest information by hitting the notification bell, and share this with your friends and family, that would be greatly appreciated. Thanks. All right, with that strength we just talked about, guys, right? Strength right here. I mean, basically the RSI is, again, still looking very bullish, as well as the market. Why is the market looking very bullish? Yes, we fell below trend, right? Trend on a bigger scale, guys. Trend on a bigger scale. But that doesn't mean we cannot break back through trend like we have historically. Look, we fell through trend here. What do? We took off, right? We fell through trend here. What do? We took off. We fell through trend again. We can very easily, at this position, rebound. This retest should be our breakthrough. If we break through on the retest, then that will be very bullish. I know a lot of people are looking at this and they're talking about some kind of head and shoulders. I will say this, on the weekly, on the daily, no matter how you're looking at this, if this is a head and shoulders, guys, we're looking for the pattern to break down more, right? We want that double bottom into a rejection on the right shoulder that will actually reject lower than our left shoulder, indicating a downtrend, aka heavy selling pressure, right? And if that happens at that position, I would say, okay, that's maybe a head and shoulders, but that can't even be possible until this pattern basically breaks down double bottoms in the same position. And then if it does head and shoulders, then it still has to break the neck, which is still in the same position. Again, guys, we're coming back and we retest the same position a third time at that point. That's definitely an indication to get out, and that would be around 40K if we did do that. Right now the market though is looking very bullish in my opinion, with the current candle system. But again, we have had these scenarios, guys, where we have these two candle scenarios, right? So 1, 2 looks really bullish, and then you just yank it right back again. So don't get overly bullish in the market right now, but I would say like where we're sitting at right now is a good DCA position. Where you guys are really looking at DCAs, when you start seeing these drops like this, boom, and the market's like, oh, and that shock happens, that shock is your time to buy in. That's when you, if you're looking at a chart and that happens, that is your time to buy in. Boom, shock, boom, shock. Do you know what these pullbacks did to a lot of altcoins? They completely wrecked them. Great buying opportunities. These are my buy-ins, guys. Like, I'm buying into these pullbacks hugely. DCA positions and stuff like that. And I'll talk about DCAs in the next video. I'm definitely going to cover that. I know I talked about it for a while, but that's something we'll get to. All right, so with all that being said, from a TA perspective, market's still looking great, guys. Nothing too scary. Again, we can come back again, and I'm going to repeat it in every video until we get out of the zone. We can come back still to 40.42, guys. We could very well reject right here where we're setting, even as bullish as this looks. Remember, it looked very bullish right here too. Even as bullish as this looks, we could still reject and come back and retest our wick position here, right? And then take off from there. So that's always possible to keep that in the back of your head. Don't go in too heavy. You know, remember DCA, dollar cost average your way in, dollar cost average your way out when it goes up. That's how you do things. Buy green or buy red, sell green. Buy red, sell green. Buy red, sell green. Keep that in your mind. You'll be good. All right. So with that being said, we're going to move on to the next market macro indicators. All right, so now we're going to look at the GlassNodes Bitcoin entity adjusted long time holder NUPL. Man, this thing spiked hard, guys. Like, look at this right here. Like, we moved up hard in the belief in the Nile zone, and that, I mean, to me, that could be signaling a decent pullback. But it could also just go, right? It could just pump and pump and pump and pump and get into that euphoric state again. We could get that blow off top market if that doesn't happen. So this could really play out two different ways, guys. I keep a real close eye on this for that belief denial zone. These are really good buying opportunities sometimes, and really good areas you can get wrecked too. So definitely keep that in the back of your mind too. All right, next part of the video, we're gonna cover the coin days destroyed, guys. All right, next we'll go into coin days destroyed. Basically, a good indication of coin days destroyed is more or less how long a coin has been kind of dormant and inactive. And these spikes, as you can see right here, are basically when that activity kind of occurs. So when they open a bunch of wallets at once, you'll end up seeing these big spikes. This is basically indicating that people have destroyed their position as far as a holding in the coin days destroyed. And now they've kind of are looking to probably for a potential sell at that point, right? And that's why we get these high spikes into these lower spikes, and that's what kind of killed the market over here, you know, over here in 2017-18, is that this spike right here ended up wrecking the rest of the market. So even though the market continued up, the selling pressure just remained active on Bitcoin for a while. Whereas like when we were over here in January, we had a very similar event, right? And the market dialed down quite a bit, guys. And now we're sitting at these lows, I would say, for coin days destroyed, while still sitting at high positions on Bitcoin as far as price point. So this is indicating to me very bullish, a very bullish scenario, because if we were looking at the market to potentially looking to come down, then we would see more activity on coin days destroyed. That would be indicating to me that that people are looking to sell their Bitcoin or move their Bitcoin. So when they activate those wallets or move from those wallets, that's usually showing that activity, and then you're able to tell on coin days destroyed that activity kind of moving, and that kind of gives you the idea of what's actually going on in the market. And that's why this works actually a little more accurately than watching activity on the market. All right, next part, we're going to move into crypto trends. All right, guys, crypto trends right here. So earlier this was pushing very bullish on the bullish side. We're starting to get, I think, more selling pressure now. Crypto trends is kind of indicating a center here, and we're getting good selling pressure again. So this is telling me that, you know, the bulls stepped in, and this was during Asia time frames. By the way, Asia stepped in really hard around 9 p.m. my time, guys. So Asia stepped in really hard to try and push the market up, which typically, if you guys have been paying attention, Asia's actually been selling on the market, and they have been the selling pressure. So I assume that these other players are probably not Asia and maybe another country. I got to look into who's actually applying that selling pressure, but we can see right here we got a pretty good balance between the two as far as the market goes. So we have stability, I would say, right now in the current market by the way crypto trends work. All right, we're going to move into the next part, and that's going to be longs and shorts, guys. All right, guys, looking at longs and shorts, we can see right here that, you know, people are still very bullish on the market. 50.65% of people are actually looking at longing Bitcoin as opposed to shorting it. This is indicating to me that, you know, a lot of people are feeling pretty stable and pretty comfortable in this current portion of the market. I mean, could this be wrong? At the end of the day, yeah, anything could be wrong, but this is a good indicator to utilize to kind of try and see what sentiment looks like and how people feel about the market. So if you feel that people are being overly bearish, you can always look at longs and shorts to see what the real big money is actually looking at and what their play is. All right, next part is going to be the other portion of longs and shorts, and that's going to be this one right here, blockchain whispers. And we can see longs on Bitcoin right now are exceeding 96.49% on Bitfinex, 50% on BitMEX, 60% on Binance, and 68.55% in total, guys, of longs over shorts. So this is indicating to me, yeah, can they push a little lower to stomp these longs out? For sure. And that's where we talked about those lower zones, 40, 42K, 43K, somewhere's in there. We want to obviously hold 40K as our floor. But yeah, I would say that this is still indicating that people are still very bullish on the market. Another indicator to me too is like ETH was pretty much bearish across the board. Now we're starting to get some even bets. I would say on ETH we got 49%, 61%, right, on Binance, and 39% on Bitfinex. So might still be some bearish downturn that we're looking at for ETH, and that may be when we actually see Bitcoin run up. I would think that that's going to happen. All right, next part, we're going to look into the Bitcoin price / volume. All right, guys, so typically I look at this in a smaller time frame, but this time we're going to look at it in a bigger time frame. So we're looking at it from basically a weekly standpoint. It makes things kind of blend together a little bit better. So previous top, as you can see right here, we had a big buy-in right here, guys. Big activity, big activity, big activity, and then boom, what happens? The market starts to top, low activity, right, or lower activity. And that same activity is actually in a downtrend. That's what's telling us that we're kind of hitting a ceiling on the way up, and it's probably a good time to take our leave. Then we get the big drop, right? Huge activity right here, sells and buys all the way down. Then we get, again, good fluctuation of support. They go to bears try to step in to push us down. Bulls obviously hold it, come in and step in to push it back up. And that's basically what's happening right here in price. And then from here, they don't really need much more pressure to the upside. They pretty much ate up all the bears. Bears have no more position at this point. Now there's only one direction to go if you want to be bearish, and that's up. Because once you don't have any more Bitcoin to sell, for selling pressure, you now have to buy, right? So you have to run the market back up. This is how the markets work. So we can see right here, big incline in volume right here. Boom. Boom, look at that incline in volume. And we can see this is an uptrend volume, guys. Uptrend volume, right? So uptrend volume means what? It means bullish. Anything uptrend is bullish. Anything downtrend is bearish. So overall, we're looking at volume picking up. Volume is actually holding higher than what it was over here, which is indicating to me that yes, we are getting selling pressure, but we're getting an even amount of buying pressure more than likely due to the way the volume is sitting. So keep this in mind too. This is a good idea to keep an eye on as far as Bitcoin goes and the market, right? We talk about Bitcoin a lot on this channel because the market itself is ran mainly off of Bitcoin and everything around Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is what crypto came from, right? So with that being said, we're going to move on to the next part. We're going to look at crypto fear and greed meter and kind of read into that. All right, guys, getting into the crypto fear and greed meter. Let's check it out. So now we're sitting here last month, obviously at 49. We hit our extreme fear into fear. So that looks like to me that we're kind of picking up on the meter, and the market's actually looking to be less fearful, maybe start diving in a little more with their funds and their profits that they made at the last top. So with that being said, I still again think we do trend up. Again, fear is a great buying opportunity, guys. I point this out every time, right? They indicate it right here on fear and greed. Best buying opportunities is in the fear zones. Best selling opportunities is in the green zones, right? The two greedy zones. So keep that in mind too when you guys are buying and selling. All right, we're gonna move into the GUI. So another indicator that I'm utilizing now, and I'll explain to you how I'm using it and why I'm using it. So this is something I'm kind of keeping track of day by day. Allows me good activity, and you can kind of see, okay, what has been happening, where have things been, and all that good stuff like that, and kind of see like how is the burn been going. What does the burn indicate? Burn indicates movement on the Ethereum net. So if Ethereum chain itself is getting good price movement, getting good activity, then we should see high burn rates. So if you utilize it to visualize that burn rate, and you're able to figure out what that burn rate is, in that case, you can go ahead and you can come over and you can be like, all right, burn rate is this. So this is what burn rate was a month ago. This is what burn rate is now. So if we look at it like that, we can kind of see that activity, and then we can add that activity all together, and we can kind of dial it in. How can we do that? Well, we can look over here and we can go all, right? And this is all the ETH that was burned. So that's quite a bit of ETH. 235,300. And then if we come over and we go over here to 1 month, it's 272,848. So that's 30 days. If we come over to 7 days, it's 48,826. And then if we go to 1 day, it's 6,372. So what would be the best way to calculate this if we want to see, okay, if we stayed at 6,373, would we be at 272,000 overall? Went back when we were doing actually pretty well. So let's kind of check that out right there. And let's go back to our 1 day, right? And we say 6,373, 6,373, and that's today's volume, times 31 days. And we say equals, and that's 197,563. So that indicates to me that we're kind of short on ETH burn. So ETH activity is probably down a little bit compared to a month ago overall. With that being said, if we compare it to today's basic price movement, with that being said, I would say that that's kind of a good indicator. And another way we can look at it too is our 7 day average, right? So 7, 14, 21, 28. So we can say 4 times 7. So we can say 4 times that number. So we can say 48,824 times 4 equals, it's actually like 4.2. We would actually be over 200K. So this would actually indicate more of a middle ground for the two numbers between the 1 day and the 1 month, and indicate to me more on the bullish side than the bearish side due to the fact that it would be higher than it was on the 1 day average. So that's telling me that overall 7 days we're doing pretty well, 1 day we're doing pretty well, so on and so forth. So as we kind of saw in the charts anyways. I would say that's a pretty good overlook on the entire market. One more thing I want to cover is another market indicator that I'm utilizing, and I will pull that up in the next slide. So this one right here is what we call Finviz, and this is a really good chart to kind of see where Bitcoin's at. This is basically a stock company, financial visualizations, and they do kind of an average on the current market overall. So if you're not good with numbers or you're not good with looking at charts, this is a good way to kind of look and see what performances look like for all these coins. I'd say performance right here on a daily, obviously XRP with front running the entire thing, and then you got the weekly, Bitcoin still up 2.05, Ethereum 0.43, 6.94, and then you got the monthly, right? And monthly, while a lot of these are down, right, on their overall percentages, Ethereum actually is doing the best out of all of these. So with these being top pick coins, I would say that, you know, ETH is probably the strongest right now out of every other coin right now. Month to date, if we come over to that, we can see the same thing, ETH, and then XRP is actually running behind that, guys. It's actually doing really well. It's kind of weird. And then you got your 1 year, right? So look at Ethereum's growth on our 1 year versus BTC's growth on our 1 year. And then look at XRP, Litecoin, and BCH. So if you're looking for a real good indicator to kind of tell you kind of what perspective the market feels about everything and what price growth has actually looked like for a lot of these coins, I would say come over here, check out this one. It's called, again, Finviz. They also do a full breakdown of price, price per minute, price per hour, day, week, month, and they kind of give you an overall, right, price scenario. So I usually run against USD, but you can see how it does against other currencies also, and kind of place it on that too. All right, well, with all that being said, I will say that that's going to be the end of our marketing video. I hope that provided some pretty good insight on where the market is, where the market's going, and what people should be looking forward to in crypto. I'll be covering other assets probably in future videos, probably in the next, I would say 5 or 10 videos. I'll start covering other assets. I want to cover housing. I want to cover gold and many other assets in addition to that. So thank you again for stopping by, guys. Please follow me on Twitter. And till next time.